Hey everyone, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. For this test centre video I'll have a look at Wolverine. This has been requested by Black Aaron on YouTube. Now I've not played Wolverine a massive amount. His lack of AoE on live kind of put me off him a little bit and made doing things like legendary quests and prestiging quite difficult. So I've not spent a huge amount of time on him. For that reason I probably won't be providing a massive amount of insight here, but there are a few skills that even with my limited knowledge I can see that have been updated here. So let's run through them anyway. The first tree we'll look at is Weapon X. So the first skill we look at here is Bloody Sweep. This is your melee area attack and it has vulnerability. And next up we have Swift Claws, which is just your basic melee attack. And following on from that we have Furious Lunge. It has the standard amount of 3 charges with a 4-second cooldown. And then we have Eviscerate. Nothing's changed there from what I can see. And next up, this is a new one. This is Tornado Claw. This is essentially, from what I can see, the last portion of your signature where you jump up and spin round. I'll actually show it off. There we go. I'll go next to the target and do it, however, might look a bit better. Let's see. There we go. Looks a little bit underwhelming, but it does actually tie in with your signature, which we'll see in a moment. So next up anyway we have Crimson Leap. Now this could be quite a good travel skill, so I'll actually show it off. You've obviously got a little bit of hitching in between each of the animations, but it could help you get about and do damage at the same time anyway. And then we have Impale, which is just the same as it is on live, however the actual animation appears to have been changed. So let me go in and get my Fury up to max. And then there we go, let's see. There you go, looks a bit better there, like he's putting a bit more force into it. And then we now have the signature Furious Assault. So with this, it does 3 hits, we can see the 3 little charges there. And with this, your next Crimson Leap, Run Through or Tornado Claw deals 75% more damage and gains a 35% critical hit chance. This stacks up to 3 times. At 3 stacks, your next Crimson Leap, Run Through or Tornado Claw will brutally strike. So really any of them you use are going to do an absolute huge amount of damage at the end there. So we'll actually fire that off so we can see it. We'll get our Fury up a little bit first though. We still have the same kind of visual effect on his Fury meter there down the bottom. Here we go, we're at max, so we'll do the 3 hits. 1, there we go, looks pretty nice. And then we can now see down here, this is actually highlighted to let you know that it's got the full stacks, and we'll get a brutal here. There we go, pretty nice, I do like that. So it looks like you'll actually be able to fire it off very often. There we go, the full stacks are up again already. There we go, do like that. Now let's look at the next tree anyway, because we've covered everything in the first one. So the next tree is Adamantium Will. Now with this tree I believe we possibly have 3 new skills, as well as some quite interesting modifiers to our offensive or defensive steroids. So let's look at the first skill, which is Feral Roar. So with this you restore 50% of max fury, and it also has a weaken and terrify portion on it as well. Next up we then have Savage Slash. This has a damage bonus based on your fury, I believe that's possibly new, and also bonus damage against bleeding enemies. We then have a new skill, which is Frenzy. Now with this, the actual buff on it is it gains stacks, and the more stacks it gains you increase your attack speed and critical hit chance. So attack speed multiplier would go up by 20% at max stacks, and critical hit chance would go up by 10% there. The animation is currently bugged and it only shows the T-pose, so there's no point me even trying to show that off there. Now next up we have Wet Work. So attack and move speed, critical hit chance and damage absorbed all go up by 20%, and the duration is 10 seconds with a cooldown of 30. There is no mention that it's affected by power duration or not, so it would be interesting if it is, given how strong a buff it is. Now next up we then have Rampage. So this is a new skill and it looks like it'll be really good for kind of treating clearing trash, something which Wolverine can struggle a bit with, so I'll show this off. There we go, gives you a bit of mobility as well, so that really could be quite nice, something that he is missing, and hopefully this will help out a bit. Next up we have Unstoppable Beast. So with this you spend all remaining fury and your health regenerated is 5% per second, and the duration of this is based on how much fury you have, with 1 second for every 100 fury. So at the moment I have put points into the fury node in the infinity system, that's why I've got 1100, but I've not itemised for it in any other way. So if you're looking to build a really tanky Wolverine, you could possibly do this here, so that's definitely interesting, this skill. Now the final skill we look at is Run Through, which is another new one, and with this one it's got a cooldown melee and it helps you close down the distance on enemies, so we'll show this off. There we go there, I'll show it one more time. And there we go. So that's pretty nice. He's got his steroids appear to be a bit more useful, given more options. He has a few new skills. He's got the trash clearer and he's got the move which helps you close the distance on enemies as well. So that looks all great. But let's now look at the talents and traits. So for the offensive trait we have Berserker's Warpath. So that's brutal strike chance 5%. The archetype is Bruiser, that gives you a bonus to durability and fighting. The defensive trait is Adamantium Skeleton. With this you gain the ability to see enemies on the minimap, health regen when you drop below 35% health. The archetype is Versatile, giving you a bonus to defense and dodge, and we also have the 8% damage reduction as well there. For the talents, we start off with Fueled by Rage. So the passive effect of this is Fury from all sources goes up by 25%, and Fury spending powers deal an extra 10%. We then have Hardened Outlook. So Swift Claws transforms into Bloody Claws. We'll click this here. You can see that's changed. No tooltip on it yet, that must still be yet to be updated. And with this it's bleeding power damage goes up by 20%, and when you hit a bleeding enemy you restore 10 Fury. And then we have Combat Rage. So Fury restored 50 per second, and the effects only apply whilst in combat. That's interesting. I personally would be drawn towards that, because then it takes any kind of idea of Fury management by and large out the window there. And with this, Frenzy gains the following effects. It gains an extra 10 stacks. So we can see that there, maximum stacks 30, so that would mean 30% attack speed multiplier and 15% critical hit chance, which is quite nice. And then we have Don't Get Too Close. So Bloody Sweep gains the following effects. It gains 30% damage, Grievous Wounds physical damage, duration of 6 seconds, and Savage Slash gains the following effects: 50% extra damage against bleeding enemies. And then we have Building Momentum. So Tornado Claw gains the following effects: max charges free, cooldown 6 seconds. If it's used within 2 seconds, your third Tornado Claw will deal 50% more damage. So this could be really interesting, using the charges of Tornado Claw along with Furious Assault, maybe kind of using one after the other. It would be interesting to see what damage combinations we can get with that. And the last talent in this tree is Punishing Strike, which is Impale gains the following effects: brutal strike damage 25%, fury cost reduction 50%. For the third line, we now have Brutality. So Grievous Wounds effects increase by 4 seconds, and Eviscerate deals 20% more damage for each Grievous Wounds on the enemy. And then let's make this quick. I like this one. Its passive effect is total damage 25%, damage received 10%. So this is great for the players that want to go for risk versus reward. Go in, try and do the damage quick and get out before you get killed. I really do like the idea of one that has a benefit but also a negative as well, so you have to weigh it up. And then we have Inexplorable Rampage. So Rampage gains the following effects. Rampage was the new kind of melee AoE skill we had there, and with this you're invulnerable for the duration of the power. damage goes up by 50%, it restores 100% of your maximum fury, and the channel time is 4 seconds. So we have, with the 12-second cooldown, 33% uptime on an invulnerability there, so that sounds not bad at all. And then for talent line 4 we have Deep Cuts. So Swift Claws applies vulnerability, increasing the damage taken from bleeds by 10% up to 100%, and it's a maximum of 10 stacks as we can see there. And then we have a Swathe of Destruction. So Bloody Sweep gains the following effects: damage bonus 100%, critical hit chance 100%, and cooldown of 4 seconds. And then Exploit Weakness. So Run Through applies vulnerability, increasing damage taken by Fury spending powers by 10% for 6 seconds. If you defeat an enemy with this vulnerability, reset the cooldown of Run Through. Run Through, of course, was this new skill. That one sounds really nice. With this you could kind of be almost leaping from enemy to enemy, and as long as you can take them down, so it would be a good way of moving through trash quickly. I do like that. And then we've got talent line number 5, which is Feral Surge. So Feral Roar gains the following effects: fury generation from all sources goes up by 20%, damage resistance, you take 20% less damage, and when you fall below 30% health, trigger Unstoppable Beast for its full duration. That sounds great. So this one here, which does the 5% of max health per second, you would get that for the full 30 seconds there. And then next up we have Wet Work. So automatically triggers when you hit boss or mini boss and lasts for 12 seconds. That's called Savage Instincts, and there's Wet Work there. And then finally Can't Keep Me Down. So when your health has been depleted, your remaining fury will absorb fatal damage, preventing death. So really quite interesting. I'm not an expert on Wolverine at all, but it does look like you can build him quite tanky if you want. You can go for a really kind of quick moving Fury's character, how I imagine he should be. So definitely interesting. Let me know in the comments, if any user Wolverine fans, what you think, and I'll see you all again soon.